blastmusic247.com. We're changing the industry one artist at a time.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to According to Courtney. If this is your first time with us, I'm Courtney West. And if you're a repeat, it is so good to see you again. Welcome to According to Courtney. On this show, we talk about everything that helps fill your cup, from Black maternal health, birth things, relationship things, and everything in between. Today, I am so excited to have the guests that I have today. Most people see these rare glimpses of birth photography. Actually, now you're seeing more birth photography all over social medias. But most people have never had an opportunity to sit down and talk to a birth photographer. So today, I'm super excited to have award-winning birth photographer Sara Hunter with us today. Hi, Sara. I'm so excited to have you.
Hi, I'm excited to be here. You know I love you.
I love you too. So, Sara, welcome to According to Courtney. Anytime that we have a new guest on the show, I always start off with the same question. So I ask you, what is your name and the origin of your name? Where are you from and where are your people from? And then what information do you want to leave with the guests today?
My name is Sara Hunter. Origin of the name is, I was just raised in the U.S. English, Scottish is my background. And I was actually born and raised in Los Angeles, California.
Very nice. And so you're lived in California most of your life?
Yeah, well, I've lived in Florida for about 18 years now.
Awesome. And then, Sara, what information would you want to leave with our guests about your story and what you do? What is the one thing that you want them to remember about you?
Just mostly about how important, birth is and how important birth photography is, and just supporting women of every color and race in their birth journey and making sure that they have the birth that they want to have.
Oh, that's so beautiful. So let's get into it. So, Sara, tell us about your journey as a birth photographer and what got you hooked on wanting to take birth photos?
Well, it started about 6 years ago, almost exactly. I had a corporate job and I worked in aviation actually for about 13 years. And my corporate job was miserable, basically. And I had just bought a new camera and I was on my way home from work one day crying. And my husband said, "Why don't you just quit your job and become a photographer?" And I couldn't believe he said that. I'm like, is that even possible? So I gave notice the next day. And and then I'm like, well, what am I going to photograph? So I literally, I'm not even kidding, went through Instagram for like 2 days, just swiping through photographers. And then I came across black and white. And I'm like, man, I've always loved black and white photography. And then I remembered this girl that I knew in Los Angeles that had photographed a birth, so many years ago, like so long, it was on film, definitely. And I remembered those birth photos and how powerful they were. And so I started like swiping through all the birth photographers and I was like, this is what I want to do. Like, this is it. So I Googled birth center, and I live in Zephyr Hills, Florida, and there's literally a birth center like 5 minutes from my house. And so I contacted the midwife there, and I said, can I put some flyers in your lobby? And I put some flyers in her lobby that I would be willing to photograph a birth for free. And that's how I got started, because I obviously wasn't going to charge anybody the first time. Excuse me, because I didn't even know if, how I was even going to do it. And so basically everything I learned from then was self-taught, because I didn't know any other birth photographers. And it's very definitely a niche. It's not like there's a ton of birth photographers around. And so it just kind of snowballed from there.
It is amazing. And so I want to give people just a little bit of, we're going to talk about your photos throughout, but I want them to pull up one of them, because when she said, like, her birth work is just so phenomenal, because the work that you do, you don't capture. People think about like birth photography is just the pretty stuff, like the maternity shoots or just postpartum. And I want people to see that, no, you actually catch real live action photographs during people's births, which are amazing, because you capture some things that you don't always see in birth photography. So for the guests, I would love for you to give us a play-by-play. What is it like to be a birth photographer? What does that life look like for anyone who might be curious on what that does? It's like, well, if you wanted to hire a birth photographer, what do they all do? What is their day like?
Yeah, it's crazy. So first of all, living that on-call life, and because you're a doula, it's the same thing. Like, that obviously is the biggest hurdle of, when I take on birth clients, and I don't usually take more than, 1 or 2 a month, if that, because it's very, it's, you don't want to put yourself in that stress of like, well, what if this one goes late and this one goes early, and then they end up going to labor on the same day? So that on-call life is a struggle. So you're on call 24/7 from usually about 36 to 37 weeks until they give birth. So if you have a mom that you're on call for those first few weeks before her due date, I've had moms that have birthed at 41, almost 42 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good 3 to 4 weeks, sometimes 5 weeks that you're on call. 24/7, you have to, your phone has to be on at night. You have to be ready to get up possibly at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And then when you get to the birth, if they're a first-time mom, you could potentially be there for 24 hours. I think the longest birth I ever did was a good 27 hours of a 2-hour drive to get there. And I mean, she was in labor all night and a 2-hour drive to get home. So I think total was 27 hours. And so that's the life of a birth worker, not just birth photographer, any kind of birth worker.
Absolutely. And what a lot of people don't know, because it's such a pleasure to be able to work with birth photographers. Usually we're called out around the same time. So it's usually the doula and the birth photographer who are there sometimes before the midwives, before OBs, because people want to sometimes have photographs of, their transition at home, or they want to capture everything. So usually when I've worked with people beforehand, we are talking on the phone. Hey, you got a call? I got a call too. Let's go ahead and go. And it's a very intimate space to be in. And as your title says, you're not only just a birth photographer, you're also a doula. So how did that come about?
Well, obviously me being the first one there, and a lot of times because I work so closely with the birth center here in town in due season, I've worked with them obviously for 6 years now. I do a lot of labor watching, so, it's not necessary for us to all go there. So I would get there, ahead of time, because obviously I want pictures of the mom in labor and everything. And then it just kind of, it kind of worked into me being a doula, because I'm there. How many pictures can I take of a mom in labor? So I put my camera down and then started working more one-on-one with the mom and helping the dad to show him how he can support the mom. And after a while, I just decided, I might as well just become a doula. And to be honest, I'm just going to put this out there. I wasn't a big fan of having doulas in my pictures. So won't go into detail about that, but I feel like if somebody's paying me to photograph their birth, I want the birth to be, the mom with her partner, whoever that may be. And I just wasn't a big fan of having that extra person in the photos. And so realistically, can I be a birth photographer and a doula? Absolutely. Because, like I said, you take some photos, you put your camera down, then you work as a doula, and I just kind of go back and forth from there. And once they get to the part where they're actually going to give birth and where I should be taking the photos, the midwife is working with them at that point anyway. They don't really need their doula. Mm-hmm. And so that's how it kind of worked out. And I mean, honestly, before I even became a doula, I got such amazing reviews from couples. And it wasn't just like, oh, Sarah's a great photographer. It was like Sara was such a great support person, and she really helped us. And my husband really appreciated her being there and how much she helped him and everything. And that's really why I made the decision to be a doula. And then the other thing is, a good birth photographer is also somebody who is like a ninja, and basically birth photographer is birth ninja. And it's so funny because, some of the photos that midwives have taken of me, like where I'm like up, over the garden tub, like standing in the corner, like taking pictures. And like one client that I had, she goes, I don't even remember you being there, which is so important because the birth photographer should just basically stay out of the way and photograph everything and, just not be disruptive to the birth space at all.
I love that you touched on that for a couple of different reasons. Because I think a lot of times when doulas are in these spaces with the birth photographer, everyone hasn't worked with them. I think it's really important for doulas to understand, yes, we are there with our clients, just like you're there with your clients. And yes, we are there to support, but this is not a photo op for us. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you are caught in there because if you're in major labor and you're doing a home birth and you're behind her or you're holding space for her because dad is just like, okay, I'm good, or encouraging those moments, you get glimpses and snapshots of that. However, like majority of the film should not be of the doula. You have to be aware of your surroundings more when you have a birth photographer, because you want to make sure that the birth photographer is able to capture the moments that they need to while you're still giving support. And I love how you use Birth Ninja. I used to work in with a Black birthing group where we had a photographer, a midwife, and myself, and we called her the Birth Ninja because you never saw her. If you do, you'll see her eyes kind of raise up because she'll be sitting on top of a sink or hanging off a door frame to get the right angle, and you don't want to freak the parents out, but you're looking like, what are you doing? Yeah. Like we can see you, the parents can't see you, the family doesn't even notice you're there, but as other birth workers, you're like, she is hanging from the chandelier. Should I tell somebody? Should we get her a ladder? No, we're going to act like this is normal. Okay, we're going to act like it's normal. And those are some of the best shots I have seen, is when you just let the birth ninjas do their birth ninja stuff. They'll let you know if they need something. But you guys usually are just I love that, hands on, hands off, because most birth photographers I have met are also doulas for that reason. They've all given me the same answer, like, look, you can only take so many pictures of somebody when they're in labor like that, right. And the transitions, you catch what you need to, but then there's that time, and you don't want to just sit there and see them struggling when you can add some extra support. And also, just like we are, you guys are the other eyes and ears for the midwives, or saying, hey, you've called your doctor, you've talked to your OB, what are they telling you to do? Are you ready? And let's go. Do you feel like as a birth photographer, it's very important that you understand birthing knowledge and support to give to clients when you're working with them?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. I mean, I've learned so much. I mean, I'm NRP certified. In fact, I do all the NRP training at my studio. I love the lady that teaches the NRP. Her name is Sherry. And, I carry a whole birth kit in my car. in case of emergency, because like we were talking about before, sometimes we are the first people there at a birth, and we have to be prepared. We have to be educated, and I help educate my clients too, because it's so important for them to know everything there is to know about birth, and not just what they're going to learn by watching YouTube. Is just to help educate them and help educate the dads too, so the dads know what's going on.
That's so important. Education has to be the top tier priority. I feel like if you're a birth worker, period, no matter if you're a doula, midwife, photographer, placenta encapsulator, whichever, you need to be able to educate who you're serving so that they get all the information. Also, we're the first people they call for very interesting stuff that sometimes you have to tell them, you should be calling your midwife. I have the information I'm happy to help you with. Thank you for sending me your photos of your bloody show and everything else, which is all fine. But I need you to reach out to your medical professional to assist. But I know, because it's a comfort level that you get with your clients. And let's talk about that. As a birth photographer, do you find yourself falling in love with your clients?
Oh, God, yes.
I know the answer to this because I have talked to several of your birth clients, and they don't
even get me started on that.
Oh yes, no, I'm gonna bring the tears. I'm coming for all of it today.
Pictures of one of the clients, a few of them actually, but you're gonna make me cry.
I know. I'm coming for the tears this Saturday. I'm with it.
It's early for this. Yeah, I love my clients. It's so funny because it's like one of them who's currently pregnant now, and you have her photo. That would be the maternity photo that I gave you. It's like, you follow their story and you just build such a relationship with them. And especially, people who birth at induced season, because, that birth center is so close to me. I will show up at all their prenatal appointments. The midwives laugh at me because they're like, why are you here today? And then they'll see who's on the schedule. And it's just gotten to the point where, like, even if they're birthing at TGH, like, I will show up at all their appointments over there, I like to think I go above and beyond. And it's funny because I think back, like, in the beginning of my career as a birth photographer, I didn't really do that as much. This is a great photo.
This is not the first one I thought was going to come up, but we're going to run with it. What is happening in this photo? Because this is a perfect example of getting angles and getting opportunities to see birth from all different points of view. Keep in mind, all these photos are for educational purposes. So go for it. Please explain this photo for us.
That's so funny because I really got some flag from the birth photographers because I think I submitted. Actually, this photo did win an award. And it's funny because the questionable part is that's Lucy, the midwife. And obviously her hand was on the baby's head. And I asked her, I'm like, Lucy, can you just move your hand for 1 second? And Lucy and I have worked together for so many years that it's just, we have a great relationship. But I mean, it's so funny because I'm sure, like, her face, she's probably like, you have 1 second, 1 second to take this picture, obviously, because I mean, the baby is getting ready to be born. And that was actually, that's actually a VBAC mom, and once again, I mean, I love my clients. I had a great relationship with this woman. This is a great photo. I mean, I love that photo. And it's just that moment of, to just move your hand for 1 second so I can get that shot of the baby's face, because you don't always have that opportunity, depending on if they're born in the water or if they're, laying on their back, or depending on the position of the mom. That it's not every day that you get that great shot of the baby's face as they're being born.
Absolutely. And I find this is just like, I want to point out to this because you just made a good point. A lot of people assume you can only birth on your back, which is completely false, as we know in birth
Right.
work. But if you've never seen it, how will you know? And look how calm this baby is coming down. It's like, yes, you can bend over and give birth and allow your body just to do the work for you. And I feel like this is captured so perfectly. And I love Lucy's face. She is giving you like, you better hurry up. You better get it. You better get it.
No, 1 second.
Catch your
That was
moment.
literally 1 second.
But this is absolutely just a stunning, powerful photo.
Thank you.
Yes. And then this one right here, can you please explain to people what is happening right here? I know what's happening, but can you tell the audience what this is happening?
This is so funny because I had been trying to get a shot like this for many years, and obviously you can't plan it. This is actually in Haiti at Mama Baby Haiti in Cap Haitien a couple years ago. And the first time I went to Haiti, there was a mom that had a bulging bag, and every contraction that bag was bulging. And Lucy was with me that time, and it's so funny because like Lucy was like holding the Chuck's pad up every time she had a contraction, trying to block it. And me, of course, I'm like, no, Lucy, I want this shot, you know. So I go stand, you know, in front of the mom, you know. Obviously, all the women in Haiti, all birth laying down on the bed, basically. And between, you know, I had my camera, and every time she had a contraction, I was like taking pictures. I'm like, I'm gonna get the shot. And between contractions, her water burst, and it blew all over my legs, down into my Crocs. Like, I walked around with amniotic fluid in my shoes for probably an hour after that. I never got the shot. So actually, this time was a couple years ago in Haiti, and I happened to. That's actually a birth assistant from who used to work at In Due Season, who is touching this baby, and I just happened to be photographing it and got that shot of the amniotic fluid spraying everywhere. And I was excited because that mom had WhatsApp, so I had figured out, you know, not from the first time so much, but every time after I went to Haiti to I would bring photo releases that are in Haitian Creole, and I would have the moms sign the photo releases, so I would have permission to share images like this.
This image is so powerful and beautiful, and happens again a lot more than people know. I too have been splashed with amniotic fluid many a times, and it's an experience you'll never forget. That I'll tell you that much. So it is beautiful to be able to see like this is captured. And I want to also start and talk about your trips to Haiti. So you've mentioned that a couple times, that you've gone to Haiti, and do you just do this on your own? Do you do this as with a nonprofit? What made you also want to do this type of travel to Haiti?
So I go to Haiti. There's a nonprofit in Haiti called Mama Baby Haiti, and you are gonna make me cry because of the high rate of death for women and children in Haiti because of the horrible health care. They built a birth center in they built a birth center in Haiti called Mama Baby Haiti. Actually, there's 2 birth centers now, and it's funded by donations from people in the U.S. And it is a safe place for women to go and have their prenatal care and birth and postpartum care. This picture in particular, this is a 16-year-old girl who was raped, and that's how she got pregnant, and that is her father praying over her. In fact, I just went to Haiti for the 4th time a couple weeks ago, and it's very common for the young girls to get pregnant. And a lot of times they're getting pregnant because they are literally having sex with somebody to be able to get money for food, and sometimes to the tune of maybe 1,000 goods, which equals about $7.
Oh,
And
wow.
so if there's a mom that has, say she's got, 6 kids, and her oldest child is an 11-year-old, 12-year-old girl, she'll send that girl out and tell her, you need to get money for food. And this is how the girls go out and get money for food. And so they show up at the birth center at Mama Baby. Monday is the day where they do like their first appointments for prenatal care when they newly get pregnant. And when you're there on Monday, I know because I've seen it, some of these girls come in 11, 12, 13 years old and they're pregnant, which means now they can't go to school and they have, a child to take care of. But Mama Baby Haiti is a great organization. Like, I love them. I do a lot of work there. The first time I went there, I went with Lucy as a volunteer, and I took like 3,000 photos and donated them. And now they use my photos to raise money to educate people about what happens in Haiti. And they actually have a lot of my photos published in a book. And for people who donate over a certain amount of money, they get a copy of that book to keep as like a coffee table book.
Ooh, that's a lot. I understand why you cried, so I get it. That's such deep, powerful work that you do. And what drew you to want to do that? Because there's a lot of different type of photography, but most people don't tend to focus on people that are not always thought of, not always cared for. What makes you more drawn to photograph people from those different diasporas?
Well, a lot of it's just Black maternal health altogether. And it's not just in Haiti. It happens in the US, where there's racism. And, you look at the death rate of women during birth, it's much higher for the Black maternal health, Black maternal death rate is much higher than it is with white women or Hispanic women. And it's not just Haiti that has poor health care. It is also in Africa, which is also, I'm on a nonprofit called Season of Hope, and we're in the process of raising money to build a birth center in Mali, Africa, because some of the pictures that you see from the current birth centers in Mali are not the greatest not the greatest healthcare there either. So I'm kind of dabbling in many areas of birth, of the birth world, and just trying to make a change.
And it's such an important thing for what you're doing because, as a white woman going into these spaces and taking these photos and doing things, you're able to sometimes, and it's unfortunate and it shouldn't be this way, but a lot of times we tell our own stories and no one wants to listen. And that's just it. And it happens in Africa, it happens in Haiti, and it happens in America all the time that Black and brown women aren't listened to. And sometimes, fortunately or unfortunately, it sometimes takes someone who is a white man or white woman to say, no, this is really real. This is here. I'm here. I've photographed and I've seen it. And to take the photos that you have taken says a lot because it is so powerful on both sides of the spectrum. It is powerful to see what these women are able to do with little to no resources in these different countries. But on the flip of that, because I've seen your work, is that you also bring joy and you bring learning and education and understanding of beautiful, helpful, healthy Black births just as well. and giving people a vision to see, you can have successful home births. You can have successful, happy hospital births and be a person of color. And I'm here to shoot it for you so people can see, no, this is real on both sides of the spectrum. The bad is very real, but the good can just be as real as well. So thank you for what you do. So how my show really works is I come in, I give people their flowers, and I just wait till you're here to tell you that. It's like focusing on you to get your flowers because your work is remarkable. Your work is not just award-winning because you take a good shot. Your work is award-winning because of what you put behind it and where it comes from. People, you can look at your photos and tell that you love what you do.
Right.
And that is really important. And from a lot of the Black mothers that when we come back from break, we're going to get into the segment that we work it on the project we work together. But I can tell you from all the mothers that you shot in different projects, how much they love you and how much they trust you. And they've all, for the most part, have said, I feel seen by Sara. And that right there is life-changing, especially for Black and brown women, because most of the time we aren't seen. We're seen by a racial category of what people want to look through, but not really seen. And in your photos, you capture the essence of these women. And they appreciate that and they feel that. So all of that say, thanks a lot, Sara. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. So we're at our 30-minute mark. This is where we go ahead and we're going to take our little break and then get to hear the music of the week. So here's how it works over on According to Courtney and Blast. For the most part, we always have new up and coming artists that we add into there. On my show, because we're in the springtime, we use baby making music. We want to get everybody pregnant because you and I need to get paid. So that's how it goes down. We go from empowering to baby making. So now we're back into baby making season because we need them knocked up because we need to make some money.
Yeah.
There it is. Very, very empowering. Very, man, I'm lost for words because the pictures are amazing. Great job, Miss Sara, and great show, Miss Courtney. So today we have a blast artist. Her name is Tanika Share, and this song is called Make Room. Let's check it out.
So new, don't wanna jump the gun, but just someone I could no deeper. But only time will tell me if you really are a keeper. Saw me dead in my tracks. Tell me how you would've did that. Now you got me acting brand new. right now where I'm pursuing peace. We living in and out, I got the cycle on rinse and repeat. Too many times have tried to take me out, but I still gain defeat. Shutting them all down by force like control or delete. I know you see the point that's key. It's me having the option. Letting you in my bubble only means that I've been watching. I take my space as serious. NASA takes the satellites. I'm out this world, not all shit access me because I'm kryptonite to every Superman wanna be. Frontin' in front of me, pretending like they man enough, but got feminine tendencies. I'd rather be home by myself, protecting my energy, waiting for the most high to finally start aligning me with. I don't know, maybe, I mean, you do got a warm, familiar feeling and a dope kindredness too. And if I'm telling the truth, pom-poms, I'm rooting for you. If it's true without the panic, I'm willing to make the can't wait to see you again. Gotta give up the man if you ain't really clear to. I just might reconsider, cause I like having you around, you baby. That's right, I'm still a she. I know it might be soon, but I don't mind making room, cause I like having you around, yeah.
And that is Tanika Share with Make Room. And if you are an independent artist or a spoken word poet or an up and coming comedian looking for some exposure, you can go to blastmusic247.com and register for free. But Blast is also looking for the fans. So if you're a fan of great music, you too can go to blastmusic247.com, register as an unlimited fan, and have access to hundreds of independent music. Blast, we're constantly changing the industry one artist at a time. All right, ladies, back to y'all.
Thank you so much. So this, if you're just joining us now, welcome to According to Courtney. And if you've been with us, you've had the pleasure of meeting birth photographer doula Sara Hunter and going over her amazing work. So now I'm super excited. So I want to give you guys a little bit of background. I was approached by the USF Initiative for Black Maternal Health I sit on their board for Black Maternal Health Week about a project. And I had come up with this project that was inspired by my mother to capture Black women audially and with photos and being able to tell their stories, because many a times you hear, even as Sara has stated, you know that the Black maternal health, that Black women are dying 3 to 4 times their white counterparts. It's not a secret, but unfortunately people don't believe it. They're like, oh, well, I've never met anybody, or I've never seen anything, or even more bigger, people don't know about Black maternal morbidity. And morbidity is a portion of the trauma that has been caused from the birthing experience. So I had reached out to Sara through the Museum of Motherhood, where we both sit on boards for, and brought her to this concept. Now, keep in mind, Sara and I had never met each other in person. I had literally sent her an email like, hey, I have this concept that I want to capture mothers with photography and to, record their stories, because I feel like they have an important story to tell. And called Sara, and Sara and I talked for hours about birth, and it was amazing. It was just, she was so on board for this, and I'm like, this is what I want to do. What do you think? And we've been dived in on this the whole time, and it's been amazing. So I would love for you to share what made you decide to be a part of this project.
Yeah, well, when you reached out to me, I was just blown away because, of course, I follow this very closely, the mortality of Black women. Like I said, not only in the US, in Haiti, and all over the world is, much higher than it is for the white people and Hispanic people. So when you reached out to me, I was like, yes, this is like totally what I want to do. And the project has been amazing. It's so funny because like some of the women that I photographed are actually women that I have worked with for a few years now, and photographed. In fact, two of them, I photographed their birth years ago, and then photographed them. They both happen to be currently pregnant when you reached out to me, and then I photographed one of them, actually Jocelyn. I just photographed her second birth, so I have her maternity birth and her newborn photos. And then Alexis, I had photographed her birth years ago, and that was an award-winning photo that I had from her birth, and then I photographed her for this project. But the funny thing is, so for example, our C-section mom, who actually came from a client of mine, and so it's funny because it's like, oh yeah, come to my studio, we're going to do these portraits of you, and probably like after the first few minutes of her walking in the studio, it's like, okay, so for me to really be able to capture what I want to capture, like, I need you to be naked. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so even, I mean, and for this photo here, for example, Alexis, I mean, this is, it's that, do we want to do it with babies with diapers on? No, because it's black and white. And so obviously the white diapers, it's just such a distraction in the image. And so this is Lexus. And like I said, I have, her birth photo from years ago when her husband was in the birthing pool with her and caught the baby. It was incredible and so powerful. And here she is with that, that little girl that was being born however many years ago. I think it's like 3 or 4 years ago, and now she was pregnant again with her first baby boy. Yes. And and so thankfully everybody was willing. Yeah, this is her with her husband catching their firstborn, and this is such a powerful image. And one of the things about I always talk about when I talk about my birth photography is I like to shoot with a wide angle lens. And to me, the reason it's so important is that you capture everybody's face. So you actually see Camissa, who is the midwife in this photo. You can see the smile on her face. You can see Lexus with her mom and the smile on her face. And that incredible image of her partner, that I don't think they were actually married. They got married after this. But anyway, besides that, that's her partner catching the baby. That's Ricky catching the baby. And it's just such a powerful image that he actually just got in the pool with her and was able to catch his firstborn child.
And this is what I was talking about these types of photos. Like, you're capturing the beginning of the most joyous moment for this family and catching it in real. Like, the baby's cord is still attached. You're able to see the cord. You get to see the awe in his face. You can tell the emotion in his face. And then just the awe of everyone, from the midwife to the new grandmother to the mom, and just how beautiful and powerful this photo is. To then move into the portrait, capturing, in her portrait with her new son and her daughter, who was captured in this photo. And what these photos really mean to people is, like, you're telling a story of the beginning of someone's life. And I think people forget that with birth photography. Why is that so important? People forget the way you come into this world says a lot about how you move through it. And so being able to capture these moments and make them beautiful, or show how powerful they are, so these children can look back and say, look how you did this. Look how you came here. I love this picture. I do. He's just...
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she's so beautiful. And it's, like I was saying before, like, you know, the fact that these women come, now I already knew Lexis for, you know, I've known her for a few years. But the fact that they come into the studio and, you know, like the C-section mom, which obviously we can't post on here because she's totally nude. But the fact that she came into my studio and it's like, hi, nice to meet you. Can you take off your clothes? Because the only way I'm going to really get the full effect of that C-section is to get a picture of the C-section scar, and she had no problem, you know, and that picture is actually going to be in the exhibit of her showing, you know, her holding that baby and you know, and you saw the birth story. It's incredible. Like what this woman, like when I reached out to her, the baby was born, I think in January, and it was like, I think it was actually February or March when I reached out to her to see if she was going to be a part of the project. And the baby was still in the hospital because when the baby, Summer Rose, was born, she only weighed like 2 pounds, you know? And so, you know, this woman had a very traumatic birth experience, you know, and her baby was in the NICU for a long time, you know? And so we had to wait for her, you know, for her baby to get out of the NICU and to gain enough weight. I think they have to be 4 pounds, I do believe, before they can leave the NICU, before she can come to my studio and do her portrait. But it's just, you know, it has been so incredible. First of all, meeting you, Courtney, because it's like, it's crazy that you and I are like telling each other, I love you, before we even met each other, before I did your portrait. That we just automatically had such a great connection. But to meet these incredible women, like the women that you sent to me, that Brittany, who I just met through a client of mine, but it's just been such an incredible journey to like meet these women, to photograph them, and to hear their birth stories, which just today I've started to populate some of the birth stories onto my website, where they'll either be in audio or there's birth stories written out. And then, you know, also the other person who we can't even talk about yet.
Yes.
Until her birth is announced. But, you know, another person who happens to be a celebrity that recently I photographed her birth, and then, you know, found out that her, you know, I don't want to go into detail because we don't really have permission to talk about it yet. But, you know, I ended up photographing her birth and doing her portrait for the exhibit, you know, and finding out that her dad was from Jamaica when I photographed her birth. And so I reached out to her and thinking there's no way that she's going to be able to do this project because of her status as a celebrity. We weren't really sure when she was going to be able to announce the birth. And so hopefully they will let her announce her birth before the opening of the exhibit, so we can also put her photos in a museum. So it's actually been like such an incredible experience meeting all these women and working with them, and especially working with you.
I feel the same. It has been, it's so beautiful because with these photos being in black and white, with them being nude, it was all intentional because I wanted to make sure that the beauty is captured of these women. Like, these are beautiful women, and their stories are stories that are hard. Some of their stories are very hard and very difficult. Some of their stories are absolutely beautiful, but with the same ring through all of them, that they're all absolutely powerful. They're powerful photos, and they are powerful women standing with their babies in the most vulnerable state, and their stories are most vulnerable. When we did this project, and I wanted to do this project, I wanted to capture everyone's story audio, and by, you know, them writing their stories in their own words, because I felt it was so important that they deserve to capture everything and to be that vulnerable, and for people to see them, like truly see them, not see the makeup, see the hair, see the this, see the that, but to see everything that they have. And I feel like that was very important, and it has been such a pleasure working on this with you. There's another photo that's not a part of our exhibit, but there's a photo that you did of one mother in particular, and she had did she have cancer at the time, or?
She found out, basically found out she was pregnant, and I'm pretty sure she found out she had cancer about the same time. She was, I'm not really sure her age, 19, 20, I think, somewhere around there. And while she was pregnant, yeah, there you go. I'm gonna cry. And this is such a whew. So this mom, you know, she found out she had cancer, and when she was 19 weeks pregnant, they did surgery and removed her left ovary and removed the cancer, and then she went through chemotherapy afterwards. And this image is so powerful. And her and baby are fine. Like she tried to birth vaginally in the birth center. The doctor was like, as long as you finish chemotherapy at least 2 weeks before you go into labor, which she did. You know, it was past the 2 weeks. She went into labor, and she attempted to birth at the birth center, but you know, obviously she had been through a lot, just finishing chemotherapy, and so her body was tired, and it was a long labor. So she ended up transferring to the hospital and getting an epidural so she could get some rest. And then she did end up birthing vaginally. And I can't remember, this must have been 3-ish years ago. I'm not sure exactly how long ago, but she's currently pregnant. And so it's funny because she's so busy, and you know, I keep messaging her, and finally I was like, look, I want to photograph your birth. Like, please, you know, please make sure that you reach out to me. I think I've flagged her, because she's birthing in due season, so I'm pretty sure I flagged her. Or, you know, Sara birth photographer, so they know to call me when she goes into labor. Because it's funny, like from that image, like I never got to do follow-up images. In fact, she's due in the next few weeks. And I was driving down the road the other day, and like she honked her horn, and she was like pulled up next to me because she lives in town, you know. And I'm like, we need to do maternity photos, because like I want to have like the side-by-side comparison of that photo compared to like her being pregnant now. I don't know if I'll ever get it, because she is a busy person and it's hard to pin her down. But yeah, I mean, that was, you know, that image has, you know, I did win awards for that image too. And it's such a powerful image. And I'm just glad that even if I don't get the maternity photos, I'm glad that I'm going to be able to document the birth of her next child any day now. I'm pretty sure she's in window for me to be on call for her right now.
I absolutely love that. And it is such a powerful, it gives me chills about the work that you've done. And then even talking about our exhibit. So our exhibit actually comes out next Thursday for the Black Birth Experience. We are doing the exhibit at the Museum of Motherhood in St. Petersburg. And this is both of our first exhibit in a museum like this. So we're super excited. I love how they put, let us unite for a better tomorrow. And for us to be able to unite and tell these stories, it's so beautiful. Now, if you use the QR code over there, you can scan that to register. This event is free. So, but there's only 45 slots. So we are telling people to register. We want everyone to be able to share this experience with us on the first opening day. That'll also be the first opening day for Black Maternal Health Week for the Tampa Bay area. And this is how we'll be opening it up. So if you go, the link is in the description. Thank you so much that you guys can click onto the link and be able to register to meet us in person, meet the mothers in person, and get to unveil this storytelling with us and get to meet these people. And it's so beautiful to be able to put the face to the names. And then the mothers themselves, they're excited to bear it all and show you who they really are and what they're made of. And then the best part is there will be a QR code. So you get to take their stories with you. You can hear their stories audibly, read their stories while you're in the exhibit, and then to, reflect on this later on in time. So I'm just super excited for us to be able to show this and to be able to show your work, Sara, and how hard and how you've been so diligently doing this work over the years, and that, people are getting to see pieces like this and to know that this is just the beginning. This is our first. It won't be the last.
Right. Already planning the next one.
I know, right? And just be able to show, that these stories are important. Birth workers are important. And I want to also highlight, because this was not my idea, that Sara decided to also not just photograph myself, but to photograph a Black midwife and share, Camissa's amazing, about what that looks like, and to show homage to the people who are in the backgrounds, who are doing this work, and that we matter, and what are our stories, and that our stories matter just as well. And I thank you for that, because I just thought of this project, honestly, like I stated, my mother brought this to me when I did Black maternal health last year at the Museum of Motherhood, talking about this and having mothers share their experiences, some with fetal demise, some with other things. In the audience, you say, wouldn't this be beautiful to have this captured? You should capture their stories because you're a storyteller, and other people should hear their stories. And, she said it and just didn't think anything of it, never knowing what this is. She doesn't even know I dedicated this whole thing to her yet. She'll find out on Thursday. So don't watch this episode, but she'll find out on Thursday what this is. So I, again, want to thank you for giving, please don't watch this episode, for giving my mother a gift that sometimes you don't, as parents do, and as you know, because you have kids too, we do so much for our kids. And thank you is, one of those fleeting things, but, they never thank you for giving birth to me. Thank you for what you went through. Thank you for seeing the importance of going through this to bring me here and to raise me and to still support you throughout all the journeys of life. So, it's the kudos to, hey man, I see you. Thanks. This is what you did. Ta-da. Let's share it on. I want to give it to other mothers because you gave it to me.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So again, Sara, it has been amazing having you here. Our hour is almost up, and just know you're always welcome back on According to Courtney. I would love to have you again for all the things and all the endeavors that you're doing. And, thank you just for holding space with us today.
Thank you for having me. I love you, and I can't wait for our museum exhibit opening on Thursday. That's exciting.
It's so crazy. It's like, this is really happening. Oh my goodness.
I know. It's a big deal. I'm super excited about it.
I am too. And I thank you guys as our audience for coming in and joining and tuning in with us. Sara, if people want to find you to do birth photography, or to be like, where are you located? What are your handlers? So people can know, hey, I want Sara to do my birth photography. How can people find you?
On Facebook, for one. I'm so bad, I don't even know my own so my website is sarahhunter.smugmug.com. Like, you think I'd know that by heart, but I don't. And then on Instagram, that's where you see most of my birth work, because God forbid I can't put birth photos on Facebook. But my Instagram is Sara Ann Photo, so it's SaraAnnPhoto. That's where you see most of my birth work, and then everywhere else it would just be like on Facebook, it's Sara Hunter Photo.
That is amazing. So again, Facebook, Sara Hunter Photos, and then you can find her on Instagram. And when I tell you, her work is Mwah, chef's kiss. We've only showed just little bits of pieces here, but you definitely should go on her Instagram page and see her work in full. And it is amazing, amazing, amazing work. And to our listeners, to our followers, know that you are loved, you are seen, you are heard, and that you deserve the best experience that you can have, even when it's the hardest experiences. If you want those things captured, there are people out here like Sara who will do that for you. You just got to reach out and find them. So until next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you next week. Take care now.
I
Bye, you
love you.
guys.